Hello everybody, I am Tiffany, and today I am not bringing you a book review, I am not bringing you a movie review, I am bringing you a TV review! Ooh, that is right, I finished a TV show. I'm trying to incorporate all types of storytelling, so I had realized I hadn't done any TV show reviews, so I'm starting to try and do them. I already have one up for a TV show, Handmaid's Tale. Love that show. Go and watch it. And this one I decided to do next. One, it was a genre that I had said that I wanted to get into more so. And on top of that, one of you peeps recommended it. Woo! So I sat down and I watched it all within like a week. And the show I am reviewing today is Death Note. Dun dun dun. For those of you who don't know, this is an anime series. That is right. I finished an anime. I never really personally watched anime. I had a ton of friends who loved anime, but I never really got into it myself. And one of the top recommended animes out there is Death Note. And I am so glad I started with that one. So this one was 30 episodes, which I was like, that is manageable. So I'm going to start with this one, especially since it has such a good rating and is so critically acclaimed. If you're trying to get into anime, I think this is a great one to start with. It's a great story, it's intriguing, it kept me watching, hence how I finished it basically in a week. It is hard for me to binge watch stuff, guys, because I have such a busy schedule, and I was actually able to binge watch this because I was so invested, and I was like, no, I am going to finish it. For those of you who don't know what Death Note is about, it follows a main character named Light who comes across this notebook, and it is called a Death Note, which is dropped by a Shinigami, which is like a death god in this world. Basically, a Shinigami drops this Death Note, and Light picks it up, and he finds out that if he writes a person's name in the book, he can kill them. He can be a murderer by writing a name in a book. So you follow this main character as he plays God and picks and chooses who he thinks should die. It's a very big game of cat and mouse in a way, but a lot better than a game of cat and mouse because it's just amazing. If you want proof, the rating on IMDb is a 9.0. What does that mean? It is a mind-blowingly awesome show. So if you have not watched this, don't be like me and wait forever. Watch it. Watch it right now. It is so good. Each episode is like 20 to 30 minutes. You can get through it like that. That is all I have for the non-spoilery section. I suggest you go and watch it and then come back and we will discuss everything about this show that is amazing about it. I really hope you enjoy it. Anime has such great stories and unique stories on top of it, which is one of the reasons why I really wanted to get into it. That's it for the non-spoilery section. Go watch Death Note. It is on Netflix. That is how I watched it. Go watch Death Note, non-spoilery people, and then come back and we'll discuss. Love you guys! Mwah! Death Note! This show, I knew was good because I was so conflicted about the main character in this. For me, when I don't know how to feel a certain way about a character, that means it's good. It's a type of conflict where you're rooting for him, but you don't like what he's doing. At least I didn't like what he was doing. And then you had the situation of L. I loved L, and I think that's why I had trouble cheering for Light, because I wanted L to catch him. I wanted them to face each other. I was so ready for that. That moment where they first interact through the television, where L tricks Light into thinking that he killed L, but he really didn't. I loved that, and I was like, this show is gonna be awesome. The moment that happened, I was so happy. I had not had a show captivate me like that in such a long time. You just had twist after twist after twist. You had Misa, who was annoying, but she actually grew on me a bit because she loved Light. And then you had the twist with the Shinigami eyes. Those were so interesting to me, that you cut your life in half if you get the Shinigami eyes. You also get to just see the person's name like written on their head. You don't have to hear it. You don't have to ask them, what's your name, by the way? Light was interesting because he chose not to do that. Misa did it, but he chose not to because he wanted to be the one who lived forever and was able to dictate all of this and basically become a god. It just got crazier and crazier. It got more intricate when L introduced himself. I was thinking that was the most stupid thing on the planet. Light is smart. Light is super smart. You don't want to mess with Light. You don't want to give him that. And then it just became that much more intense because you knew Light was trying to figure out L's real name. L was trying to figure out if Light was actually the killer or not. It was such a battle of wits, and I love when that happens. It was so cool. The one thing I got upset about, though, is that L died. I was so pissed. I was sitting there thinking, Elle's not gonna die. We got how many more episodes? I usually think that as long as this show has however many more episodes, certain characters are not going to die yet. Sometimes I'm proven wrong, but most of the time I'm right, where I'm thinking, well, this is a really, really, really main person and there's a lot more they can do with this character. I don't think they're going to die yet if they were going to die. Elle was one of those situations where I was thinking, well, there's no way he can die because we still have how many episodes left? And then all of a sudden, halfway through the show, he died. And I was sitting there thinking, what in the world just happened? I was so flabbergasted. And then all the events leading up to that is what made me even more flabbergasted when it happened. Because Light gives up the notebook. And when you give up the notebook, you forget everything that happened. You forget about the Shinigami that gave it to you. You just forget all of that. Light somehow finds a way to give up the notebook and forget everything in order to convince Elle that he is not Kira long enough for Elle to trust him into thinking he's not Kira, and then somehow is able to get the book back to him for him to remember everything right at the proper moment that he needs to kill Elle. What? Like, that was such a crazy plan. And I sat there thinking someone thought all of this up and planned this all out from the absolute beginning. I don't know. Like, I want to watch it again just because it was so crazy and so awesome. But I was mad. I was mad that Elle wasn't the one who eventually got Light. If anyone deserved it, it was Elle, not his predecessor. And then he had this whole concept with the Shinigami. I loved the element of the way they die is if they fall in love with a human and save them, basically. And then they write down like a name of someone who isn't supposed to die yet. And that's what happens to Misa's Shinigami, is that he falls in love with Misa and then writes down Elle's name. I will say the first half of the show was a little bit better than the second half. I still really enjoyed the second half though. I kind of split it between with Elle, without Elle. That's how I split the show. After that, you meet Elle's predecessors, which are very interesting. I liked Nier, but I didn't like Mello really as much. I think the only flaw I gave Death Note for as perfect of a show as it is was that I expected more of a rivalry between Nier and Mello, especially to try and catch this Light dude and become really all powerful and retrieve that notebook. I really expected Mello to be more of a force to be reckoned with, and he ended up not really being a force to be reckoned with. But it was still super interesting. And you were dealing with Nier having to catch Light and eventually Mello helping him out. But I just wanted a little bit more conflict between the two of them for sure. Because I think that's what it set it up as at the beginning. When you first introduce them, you realize that they're both successors of Elle and that they both want to take over this role. Nier gets it basically, and Mello's not too happy about it. And he says at the end that I'm gonna win. Watch. But he doesn't really do anything after, which is really, really sad. So you felt connected to all of these different characters, and that is a reason I love this show. Light's dad was such a conflict, and I think that was the moment for me that was the most difficult to watch, and that I really wanted them to catch Light. Light basically is the reason his dad died. Let his dad die believing that he wasn't this Kira who was killing everyone, but it was so hurtful to watch his dad go after him, but trying to believe it's not his son, but then it is his son, but he doesn't know it's his son, and Light just kind of being a jerk about it, in my opinion. It hurt to see him play his dad like that, and I understand that it was a conflict because his dad was like chief of police, but it hurt to watch that, and I think that was the one element for me with Light that made me cheer for Elle more and then his successors more. I did not like what happened with his dad. I was really, really upset, and I was mad when that dude died. But it's some type of mercy that he died believing that his son was innocent. So that is a quality too, I guess, which is nice, but I still don't like that happened. Light threw his whole family under. Not on purpose, I guess. He was trying to protect his family, but at the end of the day, his power and greed got to him. In my opinion, Light's super, super smart, and gosh, he's such a fun character. But his power and greed and confidence got the best of him. Just the reason the show is so good, I'm big on character connection. I love a good story, but if I'm not connected to the characters at the end of the day, I'm not gonna like the story as much because I'm not rooting for the character, even though the storyline may be absolutely fantastic. The reason I love this is that it does make you so conflicted. You have the bad guys, which are technically Light, and the Shinigami, and Misa, but you don't hate them. You're not completely rooting against them. You like Elle, which is the hero of the story, and his successors and the police, and you want them to catch this dude because they fought so hard to catch this dude, but then you like Light and you like Misa and all of them, and so you don't want them to get caught. So it's just this conflict. You love both sides, and that to me is what makes this show so great. I did not know truly who to root for. And still, at the end of it all, even though I wasn't completely happy that Elle wasn't the one who caught Light at the end, the ending still is so satisfying still. It's heartbreaking. You feel for Light. You feel for everyone in that room. You're happy that they caught him, but then you're not happy. It's just this conflicting feeling. And he dies. Your heart gets hurt when Light dies. He's fought so hard for this. Even if you don't agree with what he does, he fought so hard. And right as he thought he was about to win, he doesn't. When you have a show like that, or a movie, or a book, where you're rooting for both sides, it can so easily come up with this ending that doesn't really resolve anything and kind of leaves everything up in the air. No matter how you feel about both sides, you want to see a side win, whether you are happy about it or not happy about it. So the fact that this show did it in such a way that was beautifully done, and at the end of the day, a side won, but it makes you feel bittersweet about it because you've watched Light grow into this almighty Kira dude who can kill anybody and basically almost won. That is all I think I have to say about the show. If you can't tell, I really liked the show. If you stayed through the spoilery section for some reason and you haven't watched the show, still go and watch it. It's fantastic. You will love it. Go and watch this show and tell me what you think of it yourself. All of you, tell me what you think of it. Thank you for joining me today. If you have any other book, movie, TV show recommendations, leave them in the comments below. I always write them down and I'll make sure to check them out. If you want any updates on anything, just video updates when stuff is up, or maybe there's special events going on that you don't know about, then always check out my blog. There's the description. Bleep, 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 bleep. And there's a link to it in the description below. Make sure you go check it out. I'll give you updates on whenever I post new videos, along with Instagram and Facebook. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time of the day it is, and don't forget to be awesome. All right, go watch Death Note. Goodbye! Woo!